to the world above. Chapter 4. Valerie stays glued to my side as I take Kara, Tralgar, and Lord Ledger to the beanstalk along with 2 other giants and another troll. It's nearly morning, but no one comes out of their houses as we pass through. Once we are out of the village, we draw closer to the edge. I'm relieved to see the beanstalk is still there, but there is no sign of Charlotte. She must have lowered it to get down, and then raised it back up for me. More than likely she went home for the night. This is it, the way through the clouds, I say. Lord Ledger leans forward to stare at the beanstalk as it travels downward. He scratches the dark beard on his chin as he pulls away. Legends say there is nothing in the sea of clouds but death. Those who have tried to explore it have never returned. This could be a trick. What about Peter Pan? I say. Valerie's eyes shoot my way, clearly knowing the name, but she says nothing and gazes intently at the cloud barrier. Everyone else recognizes Peter Pan too as they shift on their feet. So I'm right. He's from their world and very real. What do you know of Peter Pan? Kara asks. I shrug. Not much. All I know is he lives in the stars and stays young for a long time. There's a rumor that if he takes you to the clouds, you'll live forever, but based on my visit here, I take it ain't true. No, it's not, Valerie says, her palm resting on my forearm. He's a half-elf and half-fairy. He and the Lost Boys are the protectors of the great pixie tree. And we know better than to think Peter Pan or any elf can grant eternal life. But you wouldn't understand that. After all, you thought you could buy trust with gold. I sigh, glancing off to the side. Why is she bringing that up? This isn't the time to be mocking me. It's time to get the bad guys onto the beanstalk, and if Charlotte knows what's good for her and Ivani, she'll tear it down as soon as she spots them coming. But then Valerie's hand squeezes my arm as she continues to speak. Trust is earned through action, like catching someone from a fall. Her red eyes, softer in the morning light, dart to the edge to which we are so close. She wants us to jump. I nod slightly, and then we bolt for it. Despite Kara and Tralgar's long reach, our fall is quick and we are lost in the clouds. I blaze through the cloud barrier, and once I'm free of it, I spread out my legs and feet to slow my fall. However, Valerie slams into me and knocks me off balance. We spin and grab for one another's arms. She'll be fine on her own, but I'll be dead without her. Finally, we are face to face with our hands firmly grasping each other's arms. Her long ponytail and dress whip out behind her. How far down is it? She shouts over the wind. I look to the surface and yell. I'm not sure. But you can fly, can't you? She bites her lip. About that, I only have enough magic to use my wings briefly. So I won't be able to glide us down. And not to be mean, but you're heavy. Wait, what? She smiles before yanking me closer and pulling me into a hug. Directly in my ear, she says, Don't worry about it and hold on. As we continue to fall, I worry that she plans to use me as a cushion to soften her crash landing. She gives me a warning right before she reveals her wings. I clutch her tighter as the force of our rapid fall no longer glues us together. When her magic drains, her wings disappear. We wobble in the air and crash onto the sand for another graceful landing. As predicted, it's my back that takes the majority of the impact. I groan in pain while Valerie kneels next to my head and brushes the sand off my face. Once she sees I'm all right, she stands and surveys the area. She gawks at the ocean as the waves crash against the sand. I've never seen so much water, she remarks. Slowly, I stand and stretch out my tender muscles. The sea is a gorgeous sight, and I'm happy that I got to see it again. I thought for sure I was going to die multiple times. However, the journey isn't over yet. Those trolls and giants will be following us down here along with Valerie's uncle. Before I can remind her, she turns to me with conviction which quickly dies as she asks. So, what is your name? The question catches me by surprise, but I realize the only reason I know her name is because her uncle said it. After jumping out windows, escaping a castle, and free-falling through clouds, an introduction is overdue. Despite our abundant amount of physical contact with each other, I wipe the sweat off my palm and nervously extend my hand to her. It's Jack. She takes my hand, and instead of shaking it, she holds it gently and curtsies. Princess Valerie. Second Princess of Chana. Now, Jack, I assume you took them to the beanstalk for a reason? I nod, looking back at the beanstalk further upshore. Yes, I plan chopping it down while the giants and trolls are climbing down. We could take 'em out in one swing. Valerie eyes the thickness of the stalk. I don't know about one swing. That potion has undoubtedly worn out by now. And it's doubtful all of them will come at the same time. They wouldn't leave their treasure unprotected. Regardless, I do not doubt that giant is on her way down along with Tralgar. Then there's that uncle of yours. Valerie lifts the skirt of her dress, revealing a pair of ugly brown boots. I don't comment, but I find it an interesting combination with her lacy dress. She stomps her way through the sand, and I run to catch up. My uncle is worse than you. He was responsible for taking care of my family after my father died. Instead, he let those beasts kill my mother and cage my siblings and me. We all knew he wanted the crown, so he didn't mind in the slightest if the giants and trolls took care of the queen and ate the crown prince. Their reign was never going to last. The rest of Terranil would have eventually saved us, and he would have remained as the sole heir. Which reminds me of something. She pauses. I tilt my head, wondering what else could be so important. Her fist swings, and she drops her dress's fabric as she delivers a punch. My neck twists to one side. I already had bruises from the fall, but now I felt a burning tenderness on my cheek. It's well deserved, yet it hurts all the same. As I look back at her, she clutches her hand, and I notice her knuckles are bright pink. That's for my brother and sister, she declares. I sigh and grab her injured hand. I deserve that, but you're lucky you didn't break your wrist. Truth be told, I originally planned to beat you senseless as soon as you freed me. However, you woke everyone in the castle, so there was no time. How about I help you get your kingdom back instead? We can't keep running from him, I suggest, letting her hand go while I arch an eyebrow. She presses her hand to her forehead, her bangs brushing against her fingers. You're right. I just haven't had time to process everything. Valerie picks up the pace again. I remain about 2 steps behind her and watch as her ponytail swishes back and forth. My eyes linger on her green ribbon. I want to ask her about her life because it isn't every day I meet a princess or a fairy. And regardless of her position and race, she seems intriguing on a personal level. She walks gracefully and acts like other girls I've met, including those girls who hate frills and heels. Can I ask you a question? You can ask, but that doesn't mean I'll answer, she says simply, her eyes trained on the beanstalk. Okay. Well, I was just wondering about your green ribbon. It doesn't really match with the white ruffles and lace. Valerie glances at me, clearly agitated. This is hardly the time. We've exchanged names and that's all we need to know. Yes, but if my friend ain't at the base waitin', we'll have to travel to find her so she can help. We can start with an easier question like how old are you? Why do you want to know that? Do I have to have a reason? Yes, you have to have a reason. You just don't ask a question without wanting to gain some form of information. Unless the question is how are you doing, which always receives a good in response. I smile. Hey, look at that. You answered one of my questions. She looks at me confused. No, I didn't. Then she closes her eyes. Oh. So, how old are you? It's impolite to ask a lady her age. And I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. My older siblings said it all the time. Age doesn't make you any more responsible than a moth calling itself a butterfly. I'm an idiot. It's only natural she doesn't want to talk about herself or answer my questions about fairies and the world above. Everything I ask will somehow lead back to her family. Sorry, I didn't mean anything like that. In fact, I wanted to know your age because your maturity level is higher than mine. You held your anger back until we were out of danger, after all. And you were willing to trust me even when I ran away the first time. Her tone matches mine as it softens. No, I should not have hit you at all. and I only trusted you because there was no one else. Simple as that.